Clean, Simple Eats every single week. Actually, every single morning. I genuinely love their products, and so do my kids and my family. And until researching for this episode, I actually had no idea that they had a subscription model or an app available full of resources, including recipes for $1 a month out of the App Store. And that basically sums up everything what we're going to talk about today. This isn't about whether they're a great brand or they have a wonderful business, because frankly, they are, and they're absolutely crushing it. What this is about is when a company scales and the ecosystem isn't fully engineered. Now, today's episode isn't about picking apart a brand. It's about teaching you how to think like a growth operator. Clean, Simple Eats has built something so impressive. So I'm using them as a case study to show how I would evaluate channel expansion, integration, and lifetime value. And I decided to do this because I think it's really fun. And also, this is what I would do in real life. If I ever had a meeting with them, this is what a strategy session would scratch the surface of the opportunity with. And what I also absolutely love about what we're going to do today is that it's real life application. And that is what the show is all about. So I'm really excited to jump in and talk about it. All right, so here is the situation with Clean, Simple Eats. First of all, they have over 100 supplements. They have a subscription model. They have retail distribution. They have influencers. They have billboards. And if you're a listener of mine who lives in northern Utah and you haven't seen them with a billboard going through Lehigh, you are not looking up enough, because they are all over the place. Plus, they have a $1 per month app with over 900 recipes inside. It does other things too, like track macros and workouts and all of this. But as a personal user of the product, what I was most excited about were the recipes, because I'm aligned on the same methodology that this company promotes of how you should eat: high protein, clean, etc. And finding those recipes every single week is really hard. So to have that app, it's amazing. So what this episode is really about is infrastructure. But when infrastructure without integration leaves money on the table, well, that's where, if I was sitting in the CRO seat for them, this is what I would change. This whole episode is me taking public domain information to analyze what they should be doing next. So it's very possible that if somebody from their company listened to this episode, they would say, "Hey, Michelle, actually, we're doing this, this, and this. We're right behind you." Totally possible. But right now, I'm just using public domain information for this episode. Okay, so the first thing I would do is fix the app integration immediately. I didn't know that it existed because I'm a retail customer. And like I mentioned, we need a QR code to get those retail people in. But this can be super powerful, very, very fast, at least to start on their own website until the packaging changes and you can put those people through the funnel. But you also can immediately address the packaging change, at least on Amazon or any of their packs. You could literally put a little note inside all of the packaging that says, "Hey, by the way, we have this. Here's your call to action. Scan the QR code." So you could just put something into the packaging if changing the outside of the packaging is not an option right now. But this is the thing. People need to get on that app. So as soon as they purchase, the order confirmation thank you page is like, download the app. Okay. And then after that, then you need to be getting text messages and emails, welcome sequence, all of this. So how can you get more consumer information, create a welcome series, get them addicted, get them on the app, get them on the subscription? And this is so incredibly powerful. And the app absolutely becomes the control center, the ecosystem, the heart of the company. And it's no longer an afterthought or something that I didn't even know existed when I've been using the products forever. I want them to make it essential. And with a little creativity, especially around the Amazon and retail division, you can absolutely do this. And this is the deal, because it's an Apple Store app and maybe it's on the other app stores too. I'm not entirely sure. I just downloaded it today. But there's a lot of restrictions with Apple. You can't give it away for free unless everyone gets it for free. They don't have promo codes. It charges them directly, which is exactly why they're just using the limited availability, which is 1 month free trial and then $1 per month. They're making it absolutely as easy as possible for people to use it, which I think is really great. However, the encouragement and what I'm saying right now is how can we bring the app into the ecosystem so that not just direct to consumer people download it, but also retail and Amazon. That is where this integration really starts. So these are just their little individual protein packs that I am obsessed with. The reason why I love these, and I get them at my local Macy's store most of the time, or I'll purchase the variety pack off of Amazon. But the reason why I love them is when I'm on the go, I don't have to scoop into a giant bag and scoop my portion for the day or whatever. And then also it makes it easier for my kids to use. So one of our favorite breakfast things that we do is we mix this into Greek yogurt, whole fat, no sugar Greek yogurt. And you can change your flavor profile. You can add other things that you like fruit or nuts or granola. And I just think that it's much easier this way versus the big bag, and it's helpful for my kids. So I'm totally obsessed with these. But I also realize there's limited space here, but I do believe that it could be redesigned to have a small QR code to motivate people to get into the ecosystem of the brand. So the next level application of this app and the future of it is that it knows what you've purchased from Clean Simple Eats. And if it knows what you've purchased, or perhaps a simpler approach to this is you log what you've purchased, then it will tell you everything that you can make using that flavor or that product. They can also integrate it from the macro pairing side of things, reorder countdown, a 30-day program matched to their goal. There's so much to do inside the app. But what I'm trying to push here is that the app becomes the ecosystem, which should absolutely increase lifetime value, increase subscriptions, and several other things. With that app becomes a lot of power. You can also create a community within an app, and that is a huge thing. If you listen to one of my episodes from a while back, and I was talking with Caitlin about her brand and how Superpower, she also does protein powder, and she's a huge community where people share their wins and they connect, and people like that, especially those that are trying to eat healthy and make good choices for their families. So adding in a community can be extremely powerful. So another thing, number 2, that I want to just double dip in here is using packaging actually as the conversion engine. And this is really big. When you have products that are in retail or you're doing Amazon, you don't get the customer information, which is a major downside to direct to consumer. So the only opportunity that you have to change that is through your packaging. And the packaging should have a very clear call to action that will help you gather that customer information and add it into your ecosystem. Now, I'm sitting here saying, so easy, change your packaging, do all these things. Guys, I get it. These are not tiny things, but what I hope that everyone is learning from this episode is that you can go into a company and analyze their growth engine. And if you're a founder, CEO listening to this episode, you're going to love what I've got towards the end, because my free resource for this episode is to help you find all of these revenue leaks. And then also, which is really important, help you prioritize where you should go first. Because I can sit here all day long and give this strategy to them, but if they try to pull the trigger on every single one of these ideas at the exact same time, it's going to be really hard for this company to do it successfully. And so I'm offering up some really cool ideas here that I think will help plug those revenue leaks, increase lifetime value. But as a responsible operator, you need to understand when you can do this. So for example, on the packaging, very clearly say, build your custom protein stack, health stack, food stack, whatever you want to call it, in 2 minutes. They scan the QR code. There is a quiz, and you know how much I love quizzes, and I have an episode on that from Try Interact with Josh, who's the owner. And the reason why this would really help is like, imagine you scan a QR code, then a quiz pops up and it allows you to be like, okay, well, where are you in your life? Are you feeding your family? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you postpartum? Like whatever it can be. And what it will do is personalize a subscription stack for you, which is amazing, right? Then you subscribe and then thank you page is great. Now go into the app, download this for your first month's free, and then it's $1 thereafter. And then you can see how you can use everything that you just purchased. So beautiful. And getting that CTA right and the wording right will be really powerful, but huge opportunity here through packaging to pull in all of those people that do not go direct to the website like myself into the brand's ecosystem for longevity, LTV, to be viral, for me to tell my friends, all of these other things. And that can all happen in this really, really simple flow. So that is QR code, quiz, personalized stack, subscription, and then there's the app. Okay. And also not entirely sure if they're on Shopify or not, because as I said, I've purchased outside of their platform, but Shopify is actually doing these really cool things where you can partner with other Shopify brands now to be that brand's upsell. So for example, maybe there are like a at-home workout company, for example, that's also on Shopify. So Simple Clean Eats or Clean Simple Eats could reach out to them and be an upsell. And that's pretty cool. Or, all of these different combinations. So using the Shopify backbone could be really helpful here as well to gather more customers, of course, acquire more customers, and then use this model of after they purchase their initial product to then have the personalized stack and the subscription. Super fun and exciting. And it's just really good to remember that packaging is absolutely a space for your funnel. Please, 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 please. This is one thing that I think about all of the time as a consumer is, wow, there's so much beautiful stuff on this. But as a CRO, I'm like, what's the next step? Like, what do you want me to do with this? I feel like every single consumer product should have some kind of CTA on the packaging that allows you to capture the customer information, increase the lifetime value. That's also going to make your company worth a lot more with the more customers that you have direct access to. So this becomes a funnel space, not just a branding space. All right, so this is the one that I'm actually the most excited to talk about right now. It's completely wild and it would be a huge overhaul for them, but I want to go for it, okay? I believe that they should build a vending machine channel. All right, so let's talk about this for a second. Health vending demand is absolutely exploding. I was charging my Tesla down in Holiday the other day, Holiday, Utah, and it was kind of off the beaten path, like behind a big commercial building. And not only was there billboards there for me to read and be advertised to, which I thought was really good, but there was also a vending machine that had all these super healthy products that were all not just US based, but Utah based. And you're just like, clearly that's a great place to put a vending machine. But I'm seeing them everywhere. And vending machines that have healthy options for on the go is absolutely huge. And I think they have a huge opportunity to do this. So if I were them, I would pilot 10 machines specifically in Utah so that they can control the stocking, the success, the placement. And I would look first at gyms. I would go to hospitals, our local airports. We have 2 small airports outside of Salt Lake. We have Ogden and Provo. 100% do I think they could get it in there. Corporate offices and apartment complexes. Absolutely huge. I also love this whole thing by Tesla charging stations as well. So there's so many different options for this. So I would pick 10 and I would go there. What would I stock in there? I would do single serve protein, their hydration sticks, all of the other stuff that they have. They have sodas, they have clear soda, clear protein soda. I mean, they have like 100 SKUs, right? And I think this would be absolutely amazing. Now, when it comes to the single serve protein, I definitely would make sure that they integrated either something private label or not, a way to mix it. right? So if you wanted to do that. But I think this is an absolute amazing idea. And quite frankly, if they did it, I would probably raise my hand and be like, I want in on this. Because vending machines can be a really, really extremely lucrative franchise. So that's where I'm going to go with this. So first of all, they can pilot with 10 to prove the concept. And I think it would be super, super easy for them. I give them 90 days and I bet they can find the vending machines, they can stock them, and they can place them. I do not think this is a super, super heavy lift. However, after a few months of these 10 being up, I would go to market as soon as possible. And this is another reason why you always need your consumers' data. And I know how hard that can be with retail and Amazon, is to send email promotions out about these new territories or franchise or licensing opportunities to clients that have the largest LTV. So I would be one of them if they had my information, but because I've never purchased off their website, they don't even know about me until I send them this episode, because I am going to do that as a courtesy because I feel like this will be really, really powerful for them. And so I would email out and offer that. Do it just for the absolute minimum that is profitable for the business to just prove the concept and get the franchise going. I think it would be absolutely huge. And I'm not going to say think, I actually believe this would be an absolutely huge market for them. Outside of the vending machine too, you can bring back the QR code of, hey, thanks so much for grabbing some. Don't forget to take advantage of our app or take this quiz for your personalized stack based on your goals. I could go into Try Interact right now and build this quiz for them today. It is that easy and simple, and it would be so incredibly powerful for lifetime value and brand loyalty. If they don't want to double tap on the franchise world, because quite frankly, that's a whole nother exploration. It may be really hard for their business to support it. They could always do this internally. So if you think about how much they're spending on billboard space, why don't you get paid for your billboard space? Essentially placing these vending machines in strategic places, you get paid to advertise. Way better than likely $10,000 to $20,000 per billboard in Lehigh. Just saying. My next thing, number 4, which I'm also really excited about, is to go after property managers and hotels. So think about it. All the luxury vacation rentals. And once again, to control this whenever they launch it, because they're located here locally in Utah, I would just stick with what you know best and start in the northern Utah area, because that's where your contacts, your relationships, and by proximity, you have some control over it when you're launching it. And then, of course, you can expand it. So for them to go into this B2B sales model, they're absolutely going to need someone who owns this. And I would start with 2 people. I would start with a double combo. I would have a BDR and SDR, somebody who is clearly finding the opportunities, booking the appointments. And then 2, I would have an account executive that would manage the full cycle. So that means selling, upselling, maintaining the relationship, everything. So that's how I would start with this. So it would take 2 peeps to launch this. And I, once again, believe it would be extremely lucrative. I'm up here in Park City, and we're in and out of hotels all of the time here. It's just kind of the culture of living here. You go to hotel parties just like you would if you're a tourist. There's other things. There's live music. There's all this stuff. And so you're not even capturing just the hotel guest, but you're also capturing the people who go into the hotels for events and such. So what does this mean? So first of all, you could arrange for a certain amount of products to be coupled with whatever they're doing in the resort. So for example, there's this hotel here. It's called the Waldorf. We love it. We're members there. And they have this hot chocolate bar every night with homemade marshmallows and all these other things. And in my mind, cool, do any of their products match something there where you can mix in the protein powder? And that's an option. And, outside of the jar, it says who makes it, QR code again. There's really, really creative ways to do this. Also, because those rooms are so expensive, to offer these individual packs, right, from upon check-in could be a huge, beautiful thing that the hotel could do for them. It would get everybody in there. Also, depending on the vibe of the hotel, if they have a self-serve cafe and it's more family friendly, this is an opportunity to pull those vending machines in as well and offer like after hour snacks and things like that from the property managers and the hotels. A lot of times when you go into a really nice luxury Airbnb, you get like a welcome basket. And even the ones that aren't super luxury, sometimes they have certain amenities in there. So why can't it be their products? Like go and place them. I personally would be so excited if I arrived at a hotel or an Airbnb and there was some healthy options to welcome me that would be included. Like also, if I think about when I went to Vegas and you have the little cooler and the second you open it and you grab something out of it, right? You automatically get charged. There's another one. I just think it's completely limitless for Clean Simple Eats to get into hotels, property managers, etc. And I'm really excited to see if they end up doing this. Now, it does take some people to do this, like 2 people. It's going to be some overhead, right? However, because B2B contracts can be so huge, it would really just take one account probably to pay for these 2 people and to pay for all of the effort. So if I were you, I would go to somebody who has selling to hospitality already in experience so that it's easy for them to leverage their relationships and do it really quickly. You may even be able to find somebody who actually specializes in placing products in hospitality and they take on your product and it's almost like an agency placement model. I'm willing to bet that exists, although I've never looked into it. So there are so many different options here to go and play in this really fun hospitality space. And also, outside of traditional Airbnbs and hotels, like I had talked about the ranch hospitality as being a new thing, farm hospitality, this would be even more perfect there, like so perfect. And I mean, I also think about some of the protein shops or restaurants that, are just randomly purchasing protein powder, like for all of their smoothies they make and everything else. Like, why not go to them? Like there's so many crazy options. And I'm just really excited for them to build out a B2B channel around this. I think it would be huge, huge, huge and great margins, great recurring revenue, new audience. I just think it'd be super fun. Oh, and then also, don't forget the gyms and fitness studios as well, especially for some of the recovery products, energizing products. It's pretty much endless at this point. And I think about also, because I love Kiln.com, co-working space here in Utah. Like, I think there's some really good opportunities for them to get involved as well with placing their products and their little stores. So there we go.
All right, rascals, let me ask you this. How much money have you wasted replacing shoes, sneakers, or even bags that could have lasted way longer if only you'd been taken better care of them? I know for me, running from meetings to kids' activities, life gets messy fast. And that's why I always have Jason Mark Quick Wipes on hand. Jason Mark is trusted care to help you get the most out of what you wear. They're not just about cleaning. They're about protecting what you love while protecting the planet. Their wipes are now 100% plant-based and plastic-free, made from renewable lyocell fibers. They're individually wrapped so you can toss them in your bag, your car, or like me, your kids' backpacks. And it's not just convenience. Jason Mark is part of the worldwide B Corp movement, meeting the highest standards for social and environmental impact. They're EPA Safer Choice certified, so you know the formulas are safe for your family. And their products are USDA, bio-based and certified biodegradable. That means no harmful junk like PFAS or VOCs. Just high-performance care that keeps your stuff looking fresh while doing right by the planet. Personally, as a busy mom and entrepreneur, Quick Wipes are my favorite. They've saved my sneakers from coffee spills, playground dust, you name it. One wipe and I'm ready to walk into my next meeting looking sharp. So here's the deal. Go to jasonmark.com and use promo code RevenueRascals at checkout for 25% off your order. One time per customer. Again, that's jasonmark.com, code RevenueRascals. And remember, this podcast is free thanks to sponsors like Jason Mark. I'm ungating sales strategies people pay me 6 figures for. So go support them, grab your Quick Wipes or your favorite product, and keep your kicks looking fresh.
5 is to elevate subscription into identity. So a while back, I did an episode about how any business can create a subscription model. But if you go back and you listen to that, I'm not going to dive into the full details here, is that there's a certain way that you have to create your subscriptions for them to last. Of course, the product is great. I get it every month. That's your ideal situation. But when you can turn it into an identity, this changes absolutely everything. So right now, the model is you get 15% off, super functional, valuable. Quite frankly, I'm going to go do it. I didn't even know it was available off their website. So now I'm going there instead of just keep going back to Macy's and Amazon. And if it wasn't for building this episode, I still would have no idea that they had that available. And I'm really excited about it. And so this is what I would do. I would do like a level 1, level 2, level 3. They can name them whatever they want. But what is important is that you're able to get to different levels of subscription. And the thing here is that you can't just be like, great, you have now achieved level 2. Here's 5% more off. That's going to absolutely screw their profit margins. So we don't want to do that, right? So things that you can do that won't completely screw up your profit margins, but still give them that identity and feeling great is 1, early access to anything, limited drops, any premium app features. At the top tier, they could get special box, like a gift, like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for spending X amount of money in the last year. We wanted to send you a thank you. Here's a swag bag. Also, unlock free gifts. So great, you've been a subscriber for 6 months. Woohoo, we're celebrating you. Watch out in your next box. We have a surprise gift for you. And the surprise gift can be something that's new, or it could be something that maybe has a surplus. So it's a way of getting the surplus out of your stock and your inventory without losing a bunch of money or having to discount more. There's so many different things that you can do that aren't just more money off, because that really starts to catch up. And of course, the integration of the app into the subscription is really powerful so that you can control how people are using the app. You can suggest different products in the app based on what they're using, or like all of their recipes. How cool would it be is if, you were going to the same set of recipes over and over again, but for some reason your subscription didn't include what was in that recipe, and the app knew it and said, hey, would you like to add this to your subscription? Like, we can see that you constantly are visiting these recipes and you need this specific product from us to execute. This is all the customization that technology can do now, and AI is really helping us with this. So it's super huge. And then of course you need some type of progress bar, or just straight in your face of how close you are to unlocking the next set of, rewards. That streak psychology really increases the retention of the app, and it gets people to purchase more products. Now, number 6, architect the quiz for lifetime value. This is a huge one. You can't just throw a quiz out there and be like, oh yeah, this is totally going to work. The quiz should determine a primary goal, or for example, if you're dealing with hormones, it can be hormonal stage, training intensity, time constraints, all these, weight loss or weight maintenance. My family eats this. I mean, there's so many different things, and it should dynamically recommend, a full stack of products and a subscription cadence and everything else. You have your membership tiers, your apps, everything needs to be integrated, absolutely integrated. I am so impressed by how many things are available on their website that I had no idea since I was a retail customer. It's just everything needs to integrate, and that is what's missing. And as many automations as possible within the app, so that the app is essentially a product of the companies that is constantly selling more and doing a lot of the work that humans would have had to do before, but it can be done through the app, which I think is really, really exciting. And the quiz data needs to be the retention strategy. It needs to be the upsell strategy. You could have several different quizzes, like, great, you've hit your goal. Woo, celebration. let's take this again and see what the next thing could be. And this hyper personalization is where everything is going, and it creates the loyalty, the stickiness, and of course, increases lifetime value. Now, I gave 6 really, really powerful ideas. And like I said, I am going to share this episode directly with Clean Simple Eats so that they can learn from it or not. Once again, I just use public domain information. They may listen to this episode and be like, oh my gosh, Michelle, you read my mind. We're doing all of those things. But for me, if they can take one thing out of this episode to improve their business and their growth strategy, I'll feel really awesome. And then also for all of my growth consultants and everyone here who's helping others grow, you have to have a framework that makes sense for the implementation and the execution of this. And so if you're a founder or you're an operator or you're a consultant, you're going to want to go to revenuerascals.com, and it's just a one-time sign up to be inside the free resource vault. And that's where I'm going to put the framework and also the free resource that helps you identify where these missing opportunities are so that you can start to execute. Completely free, will stay free. You just have to sign up once. So here's the 4-part CRO growth framework that can be used here and applied to other businesses. Number 1 is integrate. Are your assets connected into one ecosystem? If you have a broken part of your wheel, please go and fix it. Number 2 is to elevate. Is your subscription emotional or discounted? How are you creating identity? And you really have to elevate the way that consumers or companies participate in your business and what that ecosystem looks like. So you have to make it an identity, not just, great, you're getting a discount. Number 3 is distribute. Have you expanded channels creatively beyond just what you're doing right now? So for them, it would be the billboard ads. I believe I've seen some ads from them, not totally sure. And they're doing great. I know that they probably have influencers behind them because they're a Utah brand and that's really popular. But how can you distribute to different channels to capture more people? And then 4 is to activate. And this is really important. You have to prioritize the way that you activate. So everything I've talked about today, I could probably go on for another hour, and maybe I will. Maybe that'll be the next one of the steps I would take to actually execute this versus this just being a strategy dump. But you have to be really, really tight on how you're going to do this, because if you try to do everything at once, it'll be really hard. So if I was the growth leader at this company, I would go through my ideas and any other ideas that they had. And it's like, which is the fastest to market, which costs the least, which can make the most. And that's kind of where you start, right? And you start to build the execution plan. And what can you do this quarter? What can you do this year? All of these different things become really, really, really powerful. Okay, this is it. I'm loving this new structure of episodes, and I hope that you are too. Not to say every solo episode is going to sound like this, but I like to mix it up. So I hope that I mixed it up too. So Clean Simple Eats, I love you. You're a strong brand. I want you to grow. I hope something in this episode will help you. And if you're asking yourself, like, where in your business are you just sitting on assets next to each other and they're not compounding and they're not integrating? Well, once again, if this episode made you rethink your own growth architecture or your clients, I built you something. And it's called the Ecosystem Revenue Audit. It'll take you about 15 minutes and it'll show you exactly where your next growth ceiling is hiding so that you can activate and change it. And you just go to revenuerascals.com to get access to all the goods. And that, my friend, is how you grow. And I am signing off. I will see you next time. Independence isn't just about where you go. It's about how well you live when you get there. That's why I am genuinely excited about Indie Stove, because it completely changes what outdoor and off-grid cooking looks like. Indie Stove is an ultra-portable, collapsible stove that fits basically anywhere, but performs like a real kitchen tool. It heats up in minutes, holds up in wind, rain, and rugged terrain, and works with multiple fuel sources, propane, butane, or wood pellets. So you're never limited by where you are and what's available. But here's where it gets fun. This isn't just about boiling water. With Indie Stove's modular accessories, you can actually cook. The workspace stack gives you sturdy side sleeves, so your cookware, ingredients, and tools are right there when you need them most. No balancing acts, no chaos. The skewer stack lets you grill kebabs, vegetables, or skewered meals evenly with non-sag skewers designed for real heat control. And yes, people are baking chocolate chip cookies off the grid. Fresh cookies in the middle of nowhere. That is not survival, that's luxury. Indie Stove is built for people who want freedom without giving up quality. Real meals, real control, real independence. Whether you're camping, overlanding, prepping for emergencies, or just choosing a life that isn't tied to outlets and crowded kitchens. And because you're a Revenue Rascals listener, you get something extra. Use code Revenue Rascals at checkout and you'll receive a free workspace stack with your purchase of a stove, valued at $120. That's Revenue Rascals at indiestove.com. Because independence should taste incredible.
Thanks for listening to Revenue Rascals, where we turn bold ideas into predictable revenue and prove that breaking the rules can still build empires. If you love what you heard, do me a favor. Tap the links in the show notes to support our sponsors. They're the ones keeping this show free so I can keep ungating the six-figure strategies that help you scale faster, lead smarter, and take more freedom home with you. And hey, if you think you'd make an incredible guest or know someone who's built something worth studying, email me at hello@michelleterpstra.com. And until next time, stay sharp, stay bold, and stay just a little bit rascal.